Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Authentic Podcast with Justin Doulard. And thank you for tuning in to another episode. It's time!
Mr. Antonio Graham, thank you for coming in, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me. It's a dang shame that you got to invite me over for a podcast so I can see you. But
Come on.
When you're busy like that and big time, I get it. Thanks for having me, brother.
Well, you're the big time now. So, just got promoted to head coach of the Owasso Rams. So is that something that you knew about quite a bit beforehand, or with Coach? Did you know Coach Bill was going to retire and you were probably next up?
Well, so like every year, I would say like the last 3 years, he was like, "I'm going to retire," or everybody. It was a rumor.
Every year for 3 years.
Yes, like this is it. This is last year. This is it. And so, but Coach Blankenship has like 15 grandkids, and if not more, But his biggest deal was like he always told me, like he has 2 8th graders. One goes to Bisbee and one goes to Broken Arrow.
Grandkids?
Yeah, grandkids. And he was like, I'm not going to coach against my grandkids. And so next year they're going to be 9th graders. So
it's time.
I was like, it's getting pretty close. And so I knew that time was coming. And so he always would like, bro, it was awesome because like every meeting he went to or any parent meeting he had or any booster club deal or like if we're going to like a district meeting where you kind of lay out your schedules and figure out who you want to play next year, he always tagged me along with him.
It kind of grooms you
and groomed me, and which like I kind of felt awkward sometimes because it's like, golly, I don't want to make myself feel like I'm better than the other guys, but he did name me as the assistant head coach, and there'd be some years where I had to go by myself.
So which is kind of like an interim.
Yeah, it was like, he's out of town or somewhere, or, obviously Coach Blankenship's an unbelievable public speaker, and so he might have to go do a public speaking deal. He's like, hey, Antonio, I need you to go to the district meeting and work out the schedule. And I'm like, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't want to, like, you're only just picking the people you're going to play or whatever. And so he put a lot on my plate at a very young in my career and stuff like that. So what I was doing the whole time, and I was just taking notes all the time. And it's one of those deals, Justin, where it's like you're never ready until you're ready. And so I literally asked him, I said, Coach, you really think I'm ready to do this? He said, no, but you're more ready than I ever was when I was your age. So he said, because your situations, you're going to have a whole totally different experience than I had. He said, you are really good at a lot of things that I'm not. And he tells me that all the time. And I was like, that's pretty interesting, Coach. Like, I think you're good at everything. He said, no, you really good at. He said, where you're not good at, which you can be, is like all the administration stuff, like the paperwork stuff. That's not you, Antonio. What you good at is making relationships.
You're on the field.
Yeah, dealing and going out to talk to parents, which that's not really me. That's not really me because, be honest with you, Justin, I'm really, really quiet. I kind of like to stick to myself. Everybody's like, you're so personal. And I was like, no, man, I kind of like to kind of quiet at heart. But Coach Blankenship made me step out of my comfort zone to be that way. Like, because he didn't do it. So he was like, hey, Antonio, you need to go out there and talk to those parents while I do this. So I was forced to like say, hey, get me out of my comfort zone, which that's the only way you get better when you get out of your comfort zone.
For sure.
Yep.
So, I mean, he left you in the best possible situation you think you could be in to be a head coach, you think?
Yeah, he did. There are sometimes, like right now, it's like the worst time to be a head coach because and I make fun of him about that. I said, you knew you was freaking retiring because, Justin, I have had every salesperson that you can think of that want to sell you something with football that came in these last couple of weeks. Like, if you could sell helmets or, jerseys, all the equipment. He obviously put it off the week that he was going to not be there. So that first week on the job, I got like all these salesmen. Hey, Coach Blankenship said I would come by this week, but I heard you the new head coach. I'm like, dude, right now is not a good time for you to come by here right now to try to, I'm still trying to figure out like who's on my staff staying, like, because obviously Coach Blankenship had a lot of good coaches on the staff. And so when jobs opens up every year, some of those guys on our staff are qualified good enough to go apply for those jobs. So it's that time of year where jobs are opening up, and I'm like, golly, I got this guy applying for a job, or he's up for an interview here. And since Coach Blankenship's leaving, which everybody knows he had a pretty good staff, now if I'm a coach at somewhere else, I'm able to go get that guy now, because he's probably going to go leave if Coach Blankenship's there. It was coaching there, but now I'm able to get him over to my staff now, because it's like, well, I got to be credited of that majority of everybody on our staff was there for Coach Blankenship, not me.
How many coaches do you guys have on staff?
Oh, gosh, about 14, which is ridiculous.
Is that a big number?
Yeah, at one point in time, we were the lowest in 6A, and Coach Blankenship made it better. Everybody is basically, he runs like our program is a college program. Like Justin, if I showed you, like, these kids get like steaks for pregame meals, and they got like something called a training table where we call it the performance enhancing table, where the athletes go to this lunch line, and get, instead of getting 4 chicken nuggets, they can go over here and get 10, so they can make sure they keep their weight up. Before the games, we have our own nutritionist there, bro.
Do you really?
Yeah, and she tells you exactly what she tell you exactly what you need to put in your body so you can get the best performance out of it.
For each position and weight.
It's unbelievable. And I'm just like, y'all kids have no idea what y'all got. That's why I think the downfall of that is now I get recruited by Missouri, whoever, and you go on a visit there and they ain't got nowhere near the stuff you had as that.
NSU?
Yeah, whoever. It's just bad. Like, it's University of Tulsa, man. You guys
got some nicer things than TU?
Oh, yeah.
For real?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
that was one of my topics to cover, is talking about how different high school football is from when you played. I mean, I played, but you played pretty high level football.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is like kids are not loyal these days to the program, and I get it. Where we can afford to move. That's one thing. There's several differences about. I can start with the whole transfer. Did you hear about the rule they just had?
As I told you, I don't follow high school ball a lot, but I do read the news and keep up with you guys.
Well, the crazy thing is now they just made a new rule where
it's like a year you can transfer.
You can transfer. It's going to start over the summer, but basically I can live in Jinx and go to Owasso without moving in.
Are you a fan of that or not a fan?
Hopefully the move is best for the kid, but some kids are moving because they got set on the bench because they didn't play a good game.
That rule, is it almost predominantly related to sports? Is that the main?
Yeah, basically
for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you can.
It's with the Oklahoma Football Association. Yeah,
and anyone can do it.
Yes,
but you have to apply. Or you can just go.
You can. They have to have opening in their school, within their school. They got to have slots. If they have a transfer, is like they have a list of numbers,
like a wait list.
Yeah, a wait list, and if they have a spot, you good to go.
So ultimately, I guess on a short answer, do you think that's good for the sport or bad for the sport?
I think it's bad.
You do.
But I also want kids to be able. But every situation is good. Like maybe you're transferring because a personal situation that happened with you and the coach, something might have happened bad or experience or something, but like when kids are running from competition, I think it's bad because I think it's all about, I think it sends a red flag to the college coaches because now You come in, you're OU. Hey, why did he transfer? Why did Antonio transfer from Jinx? Well, he wasn't playing, so he wanted to come over here and try a different position. Well, what do you think is going to happen in college? You got to compete.
You're just going to have to repeat the cycle.
Yeah, and so there's some good and bad to it. The other biggest thing is just like the game itself. Like we were so much physical back then, and it's still physical, but it's nowhere near as like you got to basically teach tackling totally different from how we were taught. We was taught to put your face mask right in the middle of their chest, but now you got to keep your head out of the game, out of the way,
center mask.
Out of the center mask, and you got to stay below a certain, we call it a strike zone, right? So you want to keep your head below the strike zone. Like strike zones are here, here. So you want to keep your head away from their main head. So everything is just I fought it for a long time. I was like, golly, we're going to be soft as tissue these days. And, and that was another thing, just the physicality of just teaching stuff different, not the physical way,
Is there a targeting type rule in high school, like anything like college? Or
it all depends what crew you have. Like if that crew, they would say targeting, but they give you a 15. They penalize you, but it's up to that person, the referee crew in high school. Was it danger enough to kick the kid out of the game?
It's not automatic.
It's not automatic, which is up to the ref, which is pretty interesting.
And we don't have replay, so you have to kind of make a judgment call right there.
Absolutely.
Right?
And the good thing about it is you can appeal it as a coach. That was a BS call.
Like on the field.
You have to sit in the next day.
Well, what would you be appealing?
Like, so if you're a linebacker hit something and you thought it was a fair hit and they kicked your guy, because in high school you missed 2 games.
Oh.
Yes, you missed 2 games. So
really?
Yeah. So you're a stud linebacker. He's out for.
You missed 2 games if they.
Yeah,
if they call it.
Yeah, if they call it, and if they kick you out. Because
so you missed that one and then 2 more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
it's like a third of the season, right?
Could be, and then it could be towards the playoffs. It could be.
Yeah.
So you can send it in and appeal it, man, and hopefully you could freaking. I mean, they may cut it back a game or whatever, or a half, and so it just all depends on who, on what crew you get. And
does it happen more often than you would think?
No, not enough.
Not
but it happens. It happens though, and so so that's part of it too, is the physicality of it, and obviously the new generation of kids you're dealing with. These kids want to know. So if like back when we were growing up, it didn't matter what your parents or what your coach or what your teacher told you. You just did it. You didn't ask any questions. Well, if I tell Lincoln, hey Lincoln, I want you to run as fast as you can and jump high. And they usually ask why. And so you have to give the kids these days a reason why they should be doing it that way and how it's going to make them successful. Kids want to know that, like, why you want me to do it that way and how is that going to make me successful? And so they always ask questions, and like it's just different. And instead of just doing it, some kids would do it, but some kids like, well, why you want me to do it that way? Well, if you do it that way, it's going to make you explode more better and help you out your vertical or whatever. But kids want to know a reason why, and why is it going to make me successful?
Do you think there's some positives to that?
It is in a way. It can be, and then like the way you teach these kids these days, I'm very creative how to get a kid bought into what I'm teaching.
Like motivated?
Yeah, or just the drills and how I want things done. Like I always will look at clips from, like if I see something that happens on an NFL play or a college play, and I'm like, golly, I've been trying to teach that at practice. I would somehow videotape that with my phone,
pull the tape, and show
them to them like, look, this is why you don't hit people in the back. Have you ever seen like the guys just throw up their hands and stuff like that?
The DBs?
Yeah, the DBs, so they won't, and I'm just like, that's why you do that. And so like, you got to like, because if they see the guys in the NFL and the college doing it, now they want to do it. So you got to pull stuff from the college stuff and show them film of them doing it. And now that you make them a believer now, which back when I was getting coached, when your coach told you to do something, you do it. And it's like you got to get more creative these days. And
I know you don't coach basketball, but I always read a lot about kids that play basketball that ever since Curry came along, now all kids want to do is just pull up from half court or shoot the three.
Yeah, but they don't realize that Curry shoots 150 shots before it's just like they just don't realize that. And that's why it's hard for me. Like, I love basketball. I love two-sport athletes, but like, it just seems like it's a 3-point shot contest the whole freaking time when you watch basketball. It's like, God dang, man, go shoot a layup.
Nobody's dunking.
No, nobody's dunking. Nobody's like passing it down low and banging bodies. Or it's like everybody wants to just even pickup games at like the Y's. Even the old people go out there. The only thing they want to do is shoot threes. I'm like, that dude is wide ass open under the goal. Pass it him, but nope, you want to pull up and shoot a three like you Curry. So it goes all the way through, man. But they don't realize the work those people put in, man, which is insane.
So now that you're promoted from DC, defense coordinator to head coach, are you going to be teaching at all?
No, man. This past year, they just like it was just all part of Coach Blankenship plan, and obviously it's not just Coach Blankenship to see the vision. It takes our athletic director too, and superintendent got to be on board. But they put me in a position in the athletic office where I could kind of learn some of that paperwork and how all the transfers works and all the eligibility stuff works. So I did a bunch of eligibility and compliance stuff where like I had to make sure all the athletes were eligible for the classes and NCAA eligible and stuff like that. So, which I was kind of familiar with all that anyways by being at the college level and making sure like kids was living within the district, all the eligibility stuff. And so they kind of put me in that role where it was just like an easy, transfer to the head coach. So, the last 2 years I have been out of the classroom. So, but now I'm strictly all football now, man. And it's weird. But at a school like, man, we got our roster 125 kiddos just on the varsity roster.
125.
125. And
you got duplicate jerseys?
Yes.
For a lot of people?
Yeah, we do.
11, 12.
Yeah, when I get a chance, I'm going to show you, like, the hardest part, man, is picking jersey numbers. Yeah, like, and then you can't have the same two guys with the same, like, if you got two starters, like, let's say there's two receivers with the number 20, that's illegal.
They can't be on the field at the same time.
They cannot be on the field at the same time. So if I got two duplicate numbers, I got to give one to a senior and one to a sophomore who's probably never going to be on the field just yet. You know what I mean? So that's hard. But like I don't know how you can do it, right? Because they used to do it all the time. But like you got 120 kids and you got to also teach 4 hours of class. That'd be rough.
Do you guys cut people from the roster?
No, we don't. We take them all, man.
Take them all.
That's the unique thing. A lot of people do that, but like in football, man, you got to have a scout team, like somebody who can service you or give you a look. So you got to have those people. And like the biggest thing with me is that like, little Johnny probably are never going to play, right? But that kid needs the program better than the program needs him. I
think I remember you saying that a long time ago. That there's a lot of kids that they need this team more than necessarily the team may need them.
Because there's so many discretions out there. At least I know if this kid is on this football team from I think we get our kids around about 1:45 and we keep them till about 5 o'clock. We have meetings. But I know that kid's safe. I know he's around positive people. And I know he probably got a good, decent meal right before he left. And he's not into anything negative. And so some of these kids need the program more than the program needs them. And like, we have a guy, we got a player development guy on our team, which most colleges don't have. Like we call him Uncle Rex. It's Coach Blankenship's brother. And he's like our chaplain / he just helps develop young men's character. That's all.
Just like an extra father figure.
Yeah, or we call him Coach Rex, and he preaches the word to us. He texts the kids positive stuff. He counsels them. He talks to them about anything, and so he's always a guy that who is just big on our staff, who don't get a lot of credit, but he gets the kids' mind right, and they may be going through stuff, and he talked to them onto the side while everybody else is coaching. Like, everything's going all right. No, Uncle Rex, man, my mom's sick and she's going through things. So he kind of communicate that with me, and now I know how to coach that kid this week because his mom is going through some stuff,
some family stuff.
Yeah, and so if I don't know those things, I just go off on that kid, and it's just a different. It's different how it was, man. Whenever I was playing,
So are you going to be calling offensive plays, defensive plays, or neither?
So one thing I've learned in this, man, like I'm a defensive guy.
Yeah.
But it's one of those deals where I'm gonna have another guy call the defense. His name is Jaquez Washington. He's a local guy. He played at Iowa State, and he's a local. He grew up in Owasso, so he was at UCLA with Chip Kelly maybe 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's and then he went to Western Illinois, I believe, and his wife was kind of like, "I'm done with this college life. Let's go back home." So I was able to get him back home, and so my thing is like. I was really hard on Coach Blankenship his last 2 years about mentoring coaches, because we're always so hard about like this new generation of kids, right? Like these new generation, but there's also a new generation of everything, new generation of workers, new generation of coaches, and like it's like I am so like OCD about stuff. I think we were talking about this earlier, like when somebody come over and do work on your house, right? And it's like one of those deals where Justin, it's like they don't pick up the trash when they leave. It's like the same thing with coaches. It's like these coaches, they want to be all cool with their it's a certain way to carry yourself. And like I was on Coach Blankenship, like, dude, before you retire, coach, make sure we just getting all this wisdom and mentoring from you, because it's just not enough good coaches out there anymore. The pickings are slim, man. And like these coaches, they want to come in. First year out of college, I want to call plays. Like, dude, how about you go work with the 8th grade staff and work your way up? It's like, I wish I could have came straight out of college and called plays. I had to go freaking make copies for, what I mean? It's like, and it's like stuff like that that's going on as well. But my thing is like, I'm in a point in my life, which I'm still young, obviously. I want to develop guys and make them better. Because I can easily say, all right, hey, I'm going to call plays, and now that guy don't get developed. So like that's just one less thing that I have to worry about. But it's going to be – it sucks for him because I'm a defensive guy, and so I'm going to be more up his butt than I am on the offensive guys.
Yeah, you're going to be right behind him.
Yeah, and I'm going to know all of his lingo and everything, and I'm going to be right there. So I think people know that obviously you're working for a defensive guy and you want to be a defensive coordinator, you better be on point. So, but he's going to do a good job though. I trust him. So
what kind of goals and visions do you have as a head coach, either first year or for your career? Do you have anything that sticks out that's outside of kind of the standard?
Man, the biggest thing is, we all want to win but my biggest thing is, man, and it's crazy to say this, obviously you want respect from your peers. That's like the biggest thing is I want to have respect from other coaches and things like that. But the biggest thing for me, man, there's nothing like this, Justin. And when you get a player come back and he was a knucklehead and he got on your freaking nerves and he comes back and give you an envelope and you open up and you read it, a wedding invitation. I think there's nothing like that. It's nothing like having like Cal Crushmer, a kid I coach, like he hits me up on Instagram or sends me a text and say, "Hey coach, I'm fighting. Would you like to come to the fight?" That's I want to continue that relationships, and like whenever they graduate, I want to make sure I stay in contact with those guys and be a part of their lives and stuff like that.
You got like a huge extended family of sorts.
Yeah. And I always want to make sure that the alumni are welcoming. But it's just me just continue to develop young men, and I'm gonna, like, my style of coaching, I'm gonna be more of that old school guy. Like man, we all gonna look the same. We all gonna, like, trust me, I love the swag and everything, but like, we're gonna do things right. Like, in the weight room, we're gonna do the little things right. And so it's really, I want to say there's a goal, but my goal is just continue to develop young men and just hope that they can just be successful and make some out of themselves. Because like I said earlier, dude, it's just the quality of young men out there is just going. When you have a daughter and you see what these knuckleheads having, like, I would like my daughter to have something, you know.
They want your players or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, or just have a good person, you know, a good man, because it's like, it's just not the same as it was when we were growing up, you know. Like, you know, these kids, they talk to you any kind of way. They don't use the manners, the yes sir, no sir stuff, and I'm bringing that back. Into I'm huge on yes sir, no sir. I'm huge on looking guys at persons in the eyes, or when you greet somebody, you take your hat off when you greet them. You know, just that little things that teaching them how to play the game.
Who's a good example of a coach in the area that who kind of embodies that?
Man,
like outside of Bill, is there another coach that runs a program kind of like that?
Dude, obviously, Bisbee, Lauren Montgomery, he does a heck of a job. They got it rolling over there.
How are they that good?
Man,
what is it?
Man, it's those kids are just tough.
They've lost one game in like 6 years or something?
You remember when Jinx was rolling and stuff like that? He was part of that Jinx program.
That kind of that coaching tree?
He was a part of that coaching tree. And so, and also, man, it's developing. They develop their players over there well, and they have had some really good football players. Like, they have had talent. Man, those guys are good coaches as well. Like, I'd be a fool to say, like, it's just their talent. They have good scheme, and they're doing a good job. And but besides them, you know, Coach Frederick at Union, he does a awesome job. Obviously, Blankenship at BA, Josh Blankenship, Coach Blankenship's son, he has a bunch of those qualities. I would say all these guys do around here, man. They all kind of carry themselves in a professional way. And if I need something, if I was to call Coach Riz at Jinx, he helped me, you know, because they know that they didn't get where they were at if they didn't get advice.
So even though you guys compete against each other all the time, you're all still pretty respectable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now, we may not. Now, I was straight up. He said, now, when we, like, Coach Rich called me and told me congratulations. And he's like, if you need anything, you let me know.
Is that who's Jinx coach?
Yeah, the Jinx coach. And he goes, now, I promise you, I'm probably going to make you mad. And I said, well, I'm just letting you know, it's not a hard feelings. Like, it's just, I'm competitive, coach. So if you think I'm mad at me, just don't be afraid to call me and still talk to me. It's going away. So we kind of got all that stuff. But, you know, you be mad at them because you're all-star. A call went their way and then go your way. But you got to move on. So all these guys are pretty good around here.
I've always been intrigued by I guess at least at the 6A 1-2 level, how Tulsa schools, how the Tulsa Metro is so much better than Oklahoma City Metro, considering OKC is substantially bigger. You have any insight on that? Man. How it's always a Tulsa school that wins 6A gold, right?
Yeah,
for the past 30 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, a long time.
Yeah,
like how have we not had one?
I think the last one was Lindsay's alma mater, Midwest City.
In what? Probably the 90s?
Early 90s.
80s?
Yeah.
How is Tulsa so much?
Man, I think it's...
Do you even know the answer to that?
I don't know, but I just think it's just the buy-in from the communities and the school bonds is like you look at the facilities, man. Like Oklahoma City's catching up, but like there ain't not one school up there that looks like Union. So there's not one school up there that looks like Broken Arrows, like with the facility wise. There's not one that looks like Owasso or bit like. So like when kids see that, they gravitate to it. You know, they gravitate to all the swagger and And it's been like that for years.
Yeah.
Even back in the early 2000s.
Like when you played.
Yeah, the facilities was unbelievable, and so all these great athletes would gravitate to those schools. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. But it's crazy because up there, they run basketball. Basketball is like their biggest deal up there. Like they have good, they're really good in the 6A level. Like they've been dominating basketball the last 5 years. So if you ask them, it's like if you reverse your question and say, why does the basketball? It's not. It's like
it's kind of like in college when there's a school that's a basketball school versus a football school.
But my thing is, Justin, it all goes in circles, man. Every dog got their day. Like Jinx was hot one time, Union was hot, BA was hot. Every dog it goes in waves, but it's just, can you just be on that wave consistent? You know what I'm saying? And so eventually one of those schools are going to break the curse eventually.
Was there I feel like I read about this several years ago. I can't remember which high school, so I'm kind of butchering this and putting it together. But I feel like it was Owasso or Bixby or something or maybe Union, like one of the big six. They had some type of medical equipment that only like one other place in the country had.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's funny how you say that. We were playing.
I don't read a lot of news. I think you were highlights.
I think, matter of fact, you were still living in Tulsa at the time when this happened.
When you were at Union?
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was, it was almost back with the helmets. They had a piece in your helmet where if you got a big enough hit, it buzzed the athletic trainer and said, "Hey, that kid got hit hard enough where you may need to check him for a concussion."
Got it.
That's what it's like a little chip in these kids' helmets that they can put in, and I can't think of the name to be exact name, but but Union was one of the first schools that had this equipment where if you get a high enough impact where it literally buzzed the trainer like, "Oh my God, Justin just got hit really hard." So pull him off the sideline and give him a concussion test. And so, dude, you know that they got air conditioners in helmets now?
Your kids?
No, there's some kids that we don't buy for them, but kids would go buy their own helmets and with air conditioner in them.
Is that really worth it?
No, but but they have them. But they got like little AC fans.
You just the whole
the whole LSU team got freaking helmets with little AC units in them. It's insane.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I love seeing the guys, especially the linemen, when they run they get a fumble and they take it back 40 yards, or they run a big play and they get the oxygen mask. And they got the misters.
Oh, dude, it's they got benches now with heaters in them.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, but yes, man.
Those college facilities,
those deals. But going back to that piece of technology, was that when I was at Union, and it's my first year at Owasso, we're playing, which is weird. We're playing Union, and it's one of the biggest games of the year, and it's golly, man. We're at Union, and a linebacker, one of my linebackers hit one of the Union running backs. And if that buzzer did not buzz the trainer, that kid almost died. Yeah, because it was a huge story. That kid, he couldn't play any more football for the rest of his life.
You post pictures of him?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The kid with the eye patch.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what happened. It was so long ago, but that kid almost lost his life. And at the time, I was at Owasso because I coached him while I was at Union, and he was unbelievable. He would have been a Division I player. He's one of the fastest kids I've ever
So he's the kid that you have on your Instagram
quite
a bit, right?
Yep. It's Kevion Cooper, man, and he had that deal in his deal, and his brain was bleeding.
Oh.
Yeah, it was something weird where the hit that he took, and it let the trainers know what was going on, and he goes to the locker room, dude, and he passes out, and they rush him to the hospital. And just think if they didn't have that piece of equipment, he probably would have never made it.
Yeah, just got.
They had to drill a hole in his skull, or something like that, and to drain that fluid out and stuff like that. So, but just think if you go to those small schools who don't have that stuff, so and kids lose their lives. So, but But that's the difference, man. They buy into their programs.
What do you think about NIL?
Man,
I know that's a big question.
Well, you know what's crazy is it's in high school now.
Is it?
Yeah, high school kids can receive it now.
How does that work?
Man, I just think that, obviously,
like, how would a kid at Owasso get an NIL deal?
Their relationships with like if I had
like they got like a big Instagram following or something.
Yeah, something like that. Or if they're a 5-star player, or are they the starting quarterback, and
so they're just getting them to them early.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's kids that are not at Owasso particularly, but there's kids that got them in high school now.
Bixby probably.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. It's usually where it's like it's more happening in Texas more than anything. But a lot of softball girls got them through batting companies and stuff like that. But there's kids that got them for sure in high school. But man, I think that it sucks for like if you're playing quarterback and you getting $2 million and I'm your right tackle that's keeping you from not hitting and I'm not getting nothing. That's what sucks about the whole deal. Like I think they got to put a cap on it somewhere where, because it's just first of all, man, like how are you gonna coach a kid that's making more money than you? And so like but
those are pretty rare deals, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. But it's a lot more. It's more often than you think it is.
More common.
Yeah, it's more common. Oh yeah, that's part of the transfer portal now. Kids are going to, for example, and this is just an example. Like I may go to Louisiana Tech, I kill it there. Now I get in the portal and get picked up by Oregon. Now I go in the portal and I get picked up by a bigger school like Oregon or a Big 12 school. Now I get a bigger money, bigger deal. And so like it's just it's all about money in a way, and it's just getting crazy. Like I wouldn't want to be a college coach right now. I tell you that. They got to be able to put a cap to it. And it sucks for high school recruiting too.
Does it?
Yeah, because like I think the first day, and I could be wrong, there was over 1,000 kids in the first couple of hours when the portal opened.
Oh, the new one they did.
Yeah. And it's like the portal is like, so if you're a college coach, it's like, why should I go get a high school kid and I can go get a kid that's in a portal from Oklahoma State that's already developed?
So you're competing against not just high schoolers now, but other
so like it's hard for me to promote
plus
kids.
JUCO too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
JUCO's
so like,
still a thing.
Yeah, so it's like these kids, man, they're not getting recruited at all, man, out of high school. And it sucks because, like, don't forget, you still got the COVID kids because, like, when the COVID happened, they got 2 extra years of college. So there's still kids on scholarship because of COVID.
Oh, like those guys they've been playing for like 8 years.
They're still there.
They're like 29.
And so you only can have like 87 kids. I think it's 85 on scholarship technically, and the rest can be walk-ons. But now they're giving, instead of like, there's deals now, Justin, where, hey, you can come and walk on, but the NIL money that we were going to give you, we use that money to pay for your school. So they're doing stuff like that now. And like there's kids at Owasso that I know for a fact, if that wasn't for them transfer portal and all this stuff that's going on, they'd be Division I players. But now they just sitting there waiting to get picked up right now. And what did the parents think? Well, man, the coaches ain't doing nothing for our kids. They're not helping them get recruited, but they're not seeing the big picture. Like, dude, we're fighting against the portal and everything. And so, like, the small schools like Missouri Southern and Joplin, they're able to get these kids that like should be Division I, and they're able to get these kids now. And their pitch is like these Division II schools are saying like, hey, if you come like we know you're Division I player, right? But you come play at NSU, kill it, or whoever, or kill it, and get in the portal. And
like give us a year.
Yeah, and a bigger school will pick you up because you're going to ball out there, and you jump in the portal in a bigger school. So some kids are doing that. So like the advice that we're giving kids for recruiting right now, man, is just insane. It's not the same advice that I would have done 3 years ago. This is the worst year of recruiting I've ever seen in my life. Bisbee got one of the best players in the state, and he has not one Division. I think he probably has one Division I offer. Really? Because of he is the best player in the state, and he don't have no big school offers yet.
So it seems like NIL has its pros for sure, but it's kind of like it's so new that it's like the wild west right now.
Absolutely,
it's just
man.
It needs to kind of like
it needs to be
a little more regulated.
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be a cap because, like I said, the quarterback's making $5 million, and the old lineman who blocking for that kid is not making. Some of them are not making anything.
See, I always saw it on the flip side of. I guess not the flip side, but like for you, you went to Pitt State, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much money you had or what your scholarship was, but I always think, what if some business come in and was like, hey man, we're gonna give you $500 a month for, I don't know, groceries,
right, no doubt,
or you can drive this truck while you're on the team.
And I agree with that.
What could that have done for you?
It would have changed my whole life.
Yeah,
I would have had, but it's just like, I guess, man, it's one of the thing. I guess I'm too humble, but the guy that works just as hard as me, he doesn't get that.
Sure.
It's just
like the walk-ons
and so
stuff.
What it kills, brother, it kills the continuity of the team. And like it's like now you got that guy think he's better than him, and it's just
you just got like a group of entrepreneurs just competing against each other.
Yeah, and you got these kids. It's just like I think the team chemistry is so important or whatever, and the bond. It's the whole transfer portal and the NIL. If they cap it and say if like, hey, the most they can make or everybody gets this, you're still able to have a hold on the team chemistry. If you're getting $1 million and he's getting nothing and he's getting this and this, it's like, well, hell, why would I want to? And like you piss me off one day, I'm gonna say, all right, DN, you just go right on through and hit his ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it kills the continuity of the team. Now, just think about this, Justin. If you was making $1 million in college, where would you be hanging out? You wouldn't be hanging out with your teammates playing video games.
Yeah, you kind of made it already.
So. Yeah, you'd be hanging out in the clubs or somewhere or buying tables. You're a whole different.
Is that what you think
friend
about
group?
Me?
No, not at all. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if you at USC,
money change you.
Yeah, and at that age, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And
you're bringing out good.
But the thing is, too, man, you can change your family lives with it too. You know, some of these kids come from nothing, so it's some positives and negatives to it. But my biggest thing
is some balance.
You got to have some balance, man. But it's too late for it, dude. It's crazy.
Well, but we'll come back a little bit. You think, as because we're 2 years in, you think in a couple of years we'll kind of,
if the NCAA will hurry up and get on it, but I think it's going to take like some of these old school coaches to get like the Nick Sabans, like when he retires. And get on a community and just try to get rules. And
have you met Nick?
Yeah, I have.
I thought you have.
Yep, I got a player down there right now.
The receiver?
Yep, receiver's down there, and he loves it. He loves it, dude.
So how is he doing?
Is
he playing a lot or not? Because he's a freshman, right?
Yeah, he's a freshman. Got a little banged up this year, but he got it. They love him down. The coaches and the player they call him Coach Saban because they say Saban.
Coach Saban.
Yeah, because they say he's one of his favorite players.
Is he really?
Yeah, and they thought he was a walk-on. A lot of the players thought he was a walk-on because he's literally like 5'8", and he's a white boy, and he just out there balling, man.
He's good?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's full scholarship, and the stories that he's told me, like for an example,
Wes Welker?
Yeah, for example, like you gotta go eat dinner 7 times a week, right? Every time you go eat dinner, you get $100 towards your check. And some kids don't even go eat dinner, so they dock them at Alabama.
What do you mean $100?
Just to go eat dinner.
You get paid?
You get paid to go eat dinner in the cafeteria.
From who?
From the school. It's just part of their package.
Like an incentive?
An incentive. Like, dude, go get 7 meals to keep your weight up. And some kids can't even do that. And he was like, bro, that's easy incentive. Like, go in there and just go drink a glass of water and say you ate. There's $100 that goes towards your check.
And probably the best food in the state.
But Nick Saban will cut you. You know what I'm saying? You get incentives at Alabama. Like if you get like a 3.0, you get this amount of money on your check. You know what I mean? Or they take money away from you. I think that's cool. You know what I mean? And
so you're probably thinking about all the things you did in college you could have got paid for.
Oh my God.
Just for doing your normal.
Yeah, doing what you're supposed to do.
Going to class.
Yeah, going to class. Like if you get like perfect attendance, you get an incentive. You know what I'm saying? I think that's it's crazy how you got to motivate kids to do the right thing. But some kids can't even do that right.
Back when you played, you didn't do that. Like you said, you were cut or benched.
Yeah. You sit your butt on the bench.
Or you're like, man, I want an
now
extra
if
dinner.
you don't do that, right, you hit the transfer portal. Now they're being mean to me.
That makes
sense. You know what I mean? So you got to figure out how to cater to these kids.
You been down to any games to watch him play?
No, I haven't. I haven't this year, but
now that you got a 3-year-old.
But now since they just joined the SEC. Oh, since OU have joined the SEC now.
Oh, you in Texas?
They get to see. They get to.
They're gonna be in Norman.
They're gonna be in Norman, and then so now I get a chance to watch them in Norman. I get a chance to watch them in Arkansas now. So I always go back and see them in Arkansas.
So you won't go to probably not Tuscaloosa a lot, but you'll catch them when they're local
or
close.
I try to go. I went down there to Tuscaloosa in the spring and watch them because they have like a coaching convention where they invite all these different coaches in and they speak to high school coaches about football and like how they do things at their program. And
so have you actually got to converse with Saban much, or just more of a handshake?
I got to, we sat down and we talked for like, so whenever he came down here last year to a home visit or whatever.
He came to Owasso?
Yeah, to Owasso.
Really?
Yeah, he came to Owasso and we sat in the living room.
Do they fly private every time?
Oh yeah, dude.
Every trip,
dude.
Even to Tulsa.
What's crazy is, what's unique about Saban is that just like when he calls you, whenever he let's say when he calls
like the player,
a player or whoever, like his assistant gonna say, "Hey, Justin, Nick's gonna call you from a private number, answer it." Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like he ain't it's. The way they do things, dude, is unbelievable, man. And like the stories that he's willing. He's more open than you would ever think.
I see those videos of him like dancing in recruits' living rooms at their cookouts.
Absolutely, dude. And like, you know, he was telling us a cool story about him and Dion and everything like that, and the Aflac commercials and stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude. Like he said one time he got a phone call from a person, and they really thought that duck was real, the Aflac duck, you know. And what's crazy is he almost lost his contract because like Aflac want people to think that it's real. So when the person called in,
so when
the people called him in on the radio and asked him like, "Hey, is the duck real?" He's like, "Of course it's not." Well, literally, he gets a phone call later from Aflac like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he almost loses his freaking deal. Because
he does those radio shows a couple times a week. Right?
Yes, absolutely. So
those are funny.
But the dude sees his mom every week. She still lives. You know, she's probably in her 90s, and he's a huge golfer.
But he come down here to visit him.
Yep, Cole, and Cole knew how much I love Saban, and what was awesome was like Alabama in the early 2000s, like 2009, or I want to say 2011 or 10, they had a huge tornado in Tuscaloosa where it basically wiped out the whole freaking city. And so my player is down there on a visit, on this official visit.
The receiver?
Yeah, the receiver. He's down in Alabama and I said, "Hey," and I have to show you these pictures on my phone. It's freaking awesome. I said, and his mom, and I said, "Hey, if you see Miss Saban, Miss Terry, they call her Miss Terry."
That's his wife?
Yeah, that's his wife. Tell her I said thank you or whatever, because like when my grandmother lost her house, and so she took my grandmother shopping and like basically kind of help her get back on her feet. And I said, and so like whenever on her visit, my buddy's mom, my player's mom, goes up to her and be like, "Hey, Cole coach told me to tell you thank you and like how much you impacted her life." And next thing you know, she sends me a selfie of them too. She's like, "Thank you so much. I definitely remember her." And I'm like, dude, that was 10 years ago, 11 years ago. But the fact that she even acknowledged, it's just good people, you know. And like, I was like, she actually like helped my grandmother get back on her feet because just like that relationship. And I'm like, I never got the chance to thank her. Like, I don't think I ever will. But when I had that opportunity with my player, absolutely. I was like, dude, please, ma'am, go tell Miss Terry thank you. Like, she helped my grandmother out a lot, you know.
Because most of your extended family's still in Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My mom's still down there and siblings and stuff. So
when did you move to Tulsa? I know you've told me this before.
It was more when I was in middle school.
Okay.
Moved up here with my dad or whatever. And mom was like, you need to go up there. And, well, it was not by choice, but had just grew up. I was the oldest of 6, and
But you very much remember living in Tuscaloosa as a kid.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Yeah, I go back down there and know my way around easily. Yep. So that's home, man.
Let's see. You got kids that you try to talk to, say, hey, you don't have to go D1 to be somebody or to get your shot. I know you talk about kids being a different style now, where everyone thinks that they move differently. I know a lot of people say that they're like, I have to go D1 to be somebody.
Yeah.
You have those kids, you're like, hey man, you can go be somebody playing D2, D3, JUCO or NIA.
Yeah, NIA. It's it's.
Is that hard to do for kids? They think that if they don't go play,
it's hard. Yes, it's really hard because every kid has that dream. I had that dream, and what was crazy is I had better offers than Pittsburgh State. That Pittsburgh State is one of those Division II programs where their facilities are better than the Division I facilities.
Yeah,
and so
you're going to win probably a championship or
exactly, but you're just not going to get the exposure, right? Like, that's all these kids, they look at the social media and they're so in love with, like, I know you look on Twitter, you see these kids blessed to receive an offer from, it's like the most annoying thing ever.
Every time they
it's like every time, blessed to receive my 35th offer from.
Yeah.
I'm like, golly, why you got to just.
With the logo in the back.
Yeah, it's like, so all these kids see that, and like most of these kids are in love with getting recruited, but do they really love the game of football? There's a difference, right? And so what I tell kids is, I'm like, first of all, I say, do you love football? And they, of course, I say, yeah, I do. Well, if you love football, dude, like you're saying, you're willing to go to this school in Kansas where nobody knows about them and go out there. You just want to go play. If you want to go play and get your school played for, you would go. You would love to go have that experience. But the hard part about playing at Jinx, Union, Broken Arrow, Owasso, when they go to that school,
it's a downgrade.
And that kid probably go up there for like a month and like, dude, like, I don't even get free shorts here. I gotta go. I get one pair of shorts. Like, dude, I had a kid this past year hit me up like, Coach, dude, I need some shoulder pads, man. My shoulder pads up there. And then, but he comes back and he said how good he had it at Owasso. So one thing I'm going to do this year, man, I'm going to get like 4 or 5 parents or players. And you always have a parent meeting before the season gets started.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a panel where these parents, like this parent from different years that I've been there, and I'm going to have them and just tell them about your experience at Owasso. Tell them like what we do than your son didn't have at college. And like one parent caught me one day. He's like, y'all communicate better than these college coaches communicate to parents. Well, of course we do, because the college coaches don't want to talk to parents, So it's things like that where, that I'm going to bring them in and just let them know, like, your kids got it really good here. But, man, it's just the grind of getting kids the entitlement. And so that's why I'm hard about this year, Justin. So every year we give our kids 2 pairs of shorts to wear in workouts for free. It's just part of their package. So but you see a kid walks in the weight room with camo shorts on. I'm like, dude, we give you shorts. So go take those off or turn them inside out. And so I'm just because they know they get, it's just the entitlement sometimes I'm trying to get out of them. But yeah, man, that's the biggest battle that all these schools, even when I was at Union, man, it was hard to get kids to go to Bethel University in Kansas or wherever, because they was like, man, that place sucked.
In the middle of nowhere.
And they're playing and they're barely playing in front of any fans.
Yeah.
So but here's
probably
the kicker
the same
part.
Amount of fans.
But here's the kicker though, right? The kicker is that with the portal and the transfer portal, now those schools are getting big time players now.
Who?
Like the smaller schools are. because the only thing the Division I schools are getting kids they're getting kids out of the portal, and they just trading kids back and forth. And these smaller schools, like the NAIA's Division II schools, they're getting like these 3 and 4 star players that they would have never touched. So if I'm a smaller school, I am promoting my recruiting class like crazy because of the fact that I'm getting players that I would have never ever got in the past, man.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
there is some good for those, because a lot of people say NIL and the transfer portal would hurt small schools a lot.
It does,
but there are they are seeing some upside to it,
because where else, if you really want to play football, dude, you ain't getting picked up by the bigger schools, which you probably should be. So how about you come play for us for a couple of years and go make a name for yourself and go jump in the portal, because they're going to find you regardless. Sure. So eventually you're going to see more guys getting drafted from Division II schools and the smaller schools than you are from Division I schools.
Because it's going to be a lot more spread out.
There's going to be a lot more spread out talent where the smaller schools would have never got that big time athlete because of what's going on at the bigger level, man.
What percentage of players would you say, or an estimate of on your team, that actually want to go play next level ball? Does it vary, or is there always like a?
They all do.
They all want to go.
Yeah, they all want to go play, and then once they become a senior, they kind of figure out what they want to do. We always have a meeting with all the seniors at the end of the year, and I would say probably about 50-50 of the seniors. Like this year, we probably graduated 25 seniors this year, and out of that 25, maybe 10 or 12 want to go play college football, and we usually do a good enough job to find them somewhere to go play, or find them a home to go play. So we usually get to sign all of them, but some of them, it's harder because they're grades or whatever. But man, we usually got good, smart football players, and we do a good enough job to make sure that hey, dude, we have those conversations early. If you want to play, I try to have that conversation with them before their junior year starts. Hey, if you want to play college football, you need to have a 2-point this and 3. You need to have
check those boxes.
Yeah, check those boxes, because you ain't gonna make it. You're not gonna be able to get recruited, or you got to go junior college. So that's part of it. I usually try to have that but mostly it usually you probably have all the seniors, when they're juniors, all of them want to play, and then once they get to a senior, they find different interests. But the crazy part that hit me is just in when you're in high school, you realize that sometimes you're coaching a kid who can give 2 craps about playing college football, and he's really good. One of my players, one of my coaches, he's like, what's crazy is, coach, is that I'm coaching a really good high school football player, and he can give 2 craps about playing college football after high school.
Yeah.
He wants to go work on cars.
Yeah. He just wants to have fun in high school. And
yeah, but it's just so it kind of plays mind games with you, right? Because you're like, do that kid really care? You know what I'm saying? Because he don't want to go play college football.
Yeah.
So it's get kids like that. So that's, I'm like, I wish you would have never told me that. So anyways.
You have to have that conversation a lot too, though, with guys that hey, we run a tight program here, but it's a lot of fun. But when you go to college, it's going to be a job.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna go against guys that are.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's big. Everybody's fast.
Yep. That's why we try to I'm gonna invite you out there, dude. Sometimes throughout the week, if you get a morning off, you need to come up there and watch. Just look at. We try to get as close as we can to that mimic of that college, the way we practice, dude. It's sometimes we get more kids back. And it's bro, it's easier than this. You know what I'm saying? College is easy. So we try to get them, but I try to tell them their job in college is to out recruit you. They're gonna love on you, but for them to keep their job, they got to go find somebody better than you every year. And so
it's a short sell.
Yes, it's a short sell, man. And some of them get it, and some of them don't, man. And it's a shame. And some of them have enough guts to come back and tell you, man, coach, you were right. I hate that when they come back and tell you that, though.
What do you do for discipline guys that might be trouble off the field or bad grades or maybe doing something they shouldn't do? What does that look like? I'm sure there's physical part to it where they're running or something.
it's a double-edged sword, man. Honestly, like I said, dude, like I want them all. I want them all in our program, right? But one thing I do, first of all, I sit there and I talk to them. I have a conversation about them, you know, because you know what sucks about Oklahoma is, man, you know, it's the marijuana and the it's like it's okay to smoke weed these days because it's everywhere you look. And you deal with that all the time, right? And so like the biggest thing is I try to get to know their story. So if a kid comes in and I'm like, so I should already know their story, but dude, you got 150 football players or whatever. It's kind of hard to know every single one of them. Yeah. But so I try to bring the assistant coach in with me when I discipline them because we would kind of feed off each other. Like, well, coach, man, he had this, you know, his mom and dad is going through a divorce. And I was like, well, that doesn't give you an excuse to go do anything stupid or to go smoke weed or, you know. You
got to express yourself in a good way.
Absolutely. So, but, you know, what kills our kids, dude, what kills kids is playing time. Like I will, if a kid screw up and does something off the field or away from school and we find out about it, like we got, you know, kids do you know what's coming back? Stealing signs from places.
Oh,
you know,
like road signs.
Or you know, like the beer sign, all that stuff. Like, you know, we had one kid get something from Buffalo Wild Wings, like the rug, and you know, just stupid stuff. You know,
can absolutely.
And so basically,
I've done that.
Yes. So like, basically, like, bro, you can't play this Friday. It crushes them, and they usually figures it out. Like the plan, like you take away their playing time. And now they got to go back and tell their mom and dad that
don't come Friday.
Don't come Friday because I'm not playing or whatever. And you make sure, like, I make sure that I meet with every parent and the kid with them together so we're all on the same page. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the biggest thing is you take away their playing time, dude. Whether it's JV or freshman or whatever, like, it crushes them. Like, because now they get made fun of for not playing, or their kids ask and what sucks is it may be your starting quarterback.
Oh, really?
It could be. You know what I'm saying? And like you have to make a decision. Like, dude, like and everybody knows it that the quarterback did something stupid, right? And so now those parents in the community know. And it's a playoff game. And if you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to make hard decisions like, you want to win, right? And so like,
you need this guy.
You need this guy. So sometimes those decisions put you in weird situations, brother. And, you know, so I just say, yeah, we discipline you next week. After the game.
You think you're a better athlete or a better coach? You think you're a better player or a better coach?
A little bit, I say 50-50. I think that
it seems like you've carried everything that you as a player to coach.
I tell you this, I had really good coaches. I was a really good athlete, but what makes me a really good coach is because I was coached by really good guys. So I'm able to pull pieces from this coach, and
you've been with Bill off and on your whole life.
Yeah, off and on, and he put me in front of guys where. Man, when we were at TU, we had an unbelievable staff. We had a coach on our staff named Scott Downing, which really his name is not big, but he recruited Jude Bleslow. You know, it's just like we had Gus Malzahn. He's the head coach at freaking UCF.
Yeah, you coach with him?
Yeah, oh yeah, they were always on the same staff at TU that was under Coach Blankenship. I tell you another one that was there. I wasn't there, but the receivers coach at Alabama, Andrew Wiggins, was at Tulsa with Coach Blankenship. You know what I'm saying?
So his coaching tree is...
Oh, yes, dude. And, like, that guy at Alabama, Coach Wiggins, the only thing he's done is win, like, a couple of Heisman receivers, Deontay, and, like, me and him are pretty... Like, me and him, you know, we speak... Like, he knows me really well.
He's there now?
Yeah, he's at Alabama now.
So he's got your guy.
Yeah, he got my guy. So it's all about relationships, right? And so, like, the people that he put me around, man, was just awesome, dude. You know? Coaching is, you know, it's stealing stuff from others and make it your own. That's all it is, dude. And I steal something from somebody else's program, like, but I may put a little twist on it, you know what I'm saying, and kind of make it my own. But it's all stealing stuff from each other, man.
So what are the outside, because I don't know Coach Blankenship, and I just have read about him and heard from you. What sets him apart in a couple of different things that make him such a good guy or good coach?
I just think he's just real.
He's just a great guy.
Yeah, he's just
correlates to work.
He's huge character wise, man. He's a stand up man. His word is that he do anything to help you. Like, he don't mind helping anybody else. I think that's the biggest thing with him is that, like, if he sees somebody that's doing something positive or want to make something out of themselves and that hunger, like, he's all in with you, man. So I just think he's just one of those people that want to help people grow and help people, become better persons, or help if he could help you any way to attain a goal or anything like that. He's all about helping you out, man. If it's towards the positive, he doesn't get enough credit for what he does in the city. Like on 21st and I think it's Memorial, the old Rose Bowl here in Tulsa. It's like this old bowling alley. It was a pink Rose Bowl. It's huge. Well, him and his brothers, they run that down there. They basically bought this place out or whatever.
Like renovated?
Yeah, renovated it out. I think you might have seen something about it. They renovated and they brought in like these basketball courts, and they got these school buses where they bus all these kids from the north side of Tulsa and from anywhere. They feed them. They run all these camps, and he don't give himself enough credit for what he does. He's very humble or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's a big deal. Like, and it's him and his brothers, they do this.
So he's just doing it out of the good of his heart. And
absolutely,
not looking
man.
for attention.
Not at all. And I think it's a big deal because he's putting food in kids. He's able to feed kids and give kids good meals and stuff like that, and teach them the word and keep them out of trouble. And they got a place where they can study and, get mentored by people.
I don't think I realized that till someone had pointed that out to me probably, 5 or 6 years ago, about kids, how school is a lot of time where they get a lot of good food.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot of times, like in the summer, whenever they're not at school, that could really hurt some of them because they're not eating good at home or a lot more free time to get into stuff.
Yep, that's why some of these schools are now, man, they're over the summer, they have these hours where if you come from this time to this time, you can at least come by and eat in the lunchroom.
Yeah, pick up food.
And pick up food and stuff. We do it at Owasso where like 1 week it'd be the football coaches handing out food. 1 week it just blows your mind, man, how many people don't have those. People think Owasso is, Hasidity, but dude, there's kids out there don't eat. There's kids, we have the same problems as everybody else have, man, which is crazy.
You got people that struggle everywhere.
Absolutely, man. And so that's the biggest thing is that, you're able to feed these kids, and because that's part of their strength and how they think, and you can kind of tell with these kids these days, man, when they don't get sleep and when they don't eat, because their performance go downhill. Yeah,
I remember going to school with a couple of kids who I think they had to work. I say kids. I was a kid with them. I think they had to work to kind of provide for themselves or maybe part of the family, and had a buddy who he would be asleep in class every day around lunchtime because he was like, I didn't get home till 11:45, working at McDonald's or Subway or any of that. And
it sucks, but those be the kids where if they can figure it out and they're gonna be the ones that are successful.
Get that work ethic.
And get that work ethic.
Struggle a little bit.
Yeah, because that's what makes you or break you, brother. At the end of the day. So I just think that that's part of their story, and that's something that they can pass down to somebody else.
So now that you're a head coach, is no going back, right? You think you'd ever go backwards as far as going back DC, OC, or you think it's head coach from now on?
Man, I hope that's the case, and I hope it's at Owasso, as long as possible. And but I know things happen, and I think once you do get in that position, you're able to get yourself, definitely at a school like Owasso. It's like your next job is going to be a head coach. It may be a level down or something like that, but I just think it's all about the experience, you know what I'm saying, of what I have. Hopefully I have some positive experience and stuff like that where I like that role, obviously. But there's some people where, like you may see some coaches that were great defensive coordinators, right? But they wasn't good head coaches, you know what I'm saying? So I think that one of my biggest strengths is relationships and being able to manage and stuff like that. So hopefully, man, it's continue to be a head coach. It's one of those ones where I want to help develop people and be positive influence on them like people were on me.
Well, give us, before we wrap up, and if you had anything else, please let me know. But let's give some advice for someone who is a coach teacher in that field, since that's your wheelhouse. That's obviously not me, but give some of that, and then give us some advice for the average person, some of your work ethic or something that you think.
My thing is, don't be afraid to send an email to somebody and say, hey, Coach, I would love to set up a Zoom call to learn ball. Because there's not definitely if that coach is more of an old school guy and you see he's successful, because like those guys like doing that, you know, like they love love giving wisdom and stuff like that. And I think like anytime you can go to a convention and stuff like that, try to reach out and just be humble. Don't think you know a lot, and be willing to do a job where, you know, like, man, you see Coach Blankenship, he pick up trash, like in the mud, you know what I'm saying, where a lot of guys walk by that trash, you know, including myself, you know what I'm saying, and he makes me feel bad. You know, it's like, be a guy that there's no job never is too big, and do the stuff where nobody else don't want to do. Treat
the janitor just like you would the president.
You dang right.
Yeah.
And just be able to just put your head down. Don't think you know too much. Ask questions, but don't ask a lot of questions. Be selective of what you're asking, because some of these guys may take it defensive. You know what I'm saying? But just be willing to learn. Don't feel like you know it all. You know, just it's the same way it works in the business, and it's the same part about coaching. You know, don't think you know too much, man, and be willing to put your head down and work and make relationship with kids. Get to know these kids. Don't say, hey, 32. No, say, hey, Justin. That's a difference. You know, that's one thing I learned about with Coach Blankenship is that like everybody always call these kids by, hey, number 40, get over here. Well, the only thing that kid remembers goes back like, hey, Coach Blankenship or Coach Graham calls me, hey, number 40. He don't even know my name. But it's different when
roster spot.
Yeah, it's different when you say, hey, Justin, come here, buddy. Let me talk to you. Make sure you touch a kid every day. Like a touch goes a long way, or a pat on the butt goes a long way. Like, just try to make an interaction with every single kid every single day, because it's like sometimes these kids are like, dang, I didn't even know that you knew my name, and it goes a long way. And then like you get the kids believing in you, dude, and you get relationships. They're the one who planned for you. Like, they run through a wall for you. So just relationships, and just put your head down and go to work, brother. That's what I would say, brother.
You got anything else before you want to bounce?
Man,
we talk a lot of ball.
No, man, the biggest thing is, man, first of all, I think what you're doing and giving me the opportunity is huge. I think people need to tune in to what you got going on. I think that you don't give yourself enough credit. So I'm going to challenge me being your friend is to you do a hell of a job doing what you're doing, man. And obviously the biggest thing about podcasts is just things in life that we all step out of our comfort zone. And thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone and giving me a skill to talk about ball, dude. Like, so that's awesome. So, man, you keep doing what you're doing, man, and I'm happy for you, dude. You got a beautiful family, and dude, you took sacrifices for yourself, and you went to go serve for the country, and things that I didn't think you were going to do, right? Because I think you're a very intelligent guy. I'm like, dude, you should be running your own freaking business or whatever. But anyways, man, but like, you just stay at it. Like, whatever, I feel like whatever you put your mind to, Justin, you figure it out, dude. So just stay with the course, man. And if there's anything that we can do, man, and you let me know, man. I want you guys to come out to a game this year, man, and be front row and feel comfortable, dude. Like you literally don't have to ask. Like, just show up, bro. Like, you know, because it's, you know how it is, man. You're family,
Yeah.
And so like some people always like, man, let me call. Like you one of those people that ain't got to call. Like, seriously, like, you just show up, dude, because you get it. You know, not everybody gets it, right?
Yeah.
So, man, I wanted to make sure you know that, like, dude, just come show up, dude, and it's home. So,
Thank you.
I appreciate you, brother.
No, thank you. I did want to say my brother and Lindsay will tell me a lot to reach out to certain people, and even with you, I know we could talk for
absolutely,
days, but
yeah,
I didn't
no
know
doubt.
if you'd ever want to be on. But Colton sent me the screenshot of the World article. It was like, you know, Antonio Graham, new head coach.
Yeah.
I said, I texted him. I'll call him here in a little bit when I called you that night. But Colton said, tell him to come on the pod. And I was like, I didn't show you, but I said, I don't know if he would or not. And then I call you. And I'm like, dude, congrats. And you're like, now I could get on your podcast. I was like, my brother just said that, dude. Like, I swear.
Yeah, that's
6 minutes before I called you, he was like,
blessing in disguise, right?
Yeah.
So, no, man, appreciate you for having me, man.
No, for real, for
Keep
sure.
doing your thing.
Thank you for coming, and I'm happy for you, man. I'm excited to come watch a game, and it's crazy to see you're the head coach now.
Dude, I am with this, man, and I'm sorry, but I need to say this, brother. You know how some people go, like, if you can, you know how you always hear these famous people, it's like, man, if you really just lock in and you grind and you can reach your goals or whatever, and man, I want to say that's real, dude, because like the only thing I ever done, Justin, was, man, I kept my mouth shut, I grinded it out. Yes, I made mistakes. I'm definitely not perfect, but I try to learn from my mistakes. But I mostly just kept my head down and grinded and with respect, and I respected my elders, and things started happening for me in life. And so, like, if you do that stuff, which we always hear these successful people talk about that, right? And he's like, man, it ain't that easy. But, dude, it really is that easy. And I would never thought I'd be saying those words, man, because, like, having one of these jobs and breaking a barrier for minorities and stuff like that, like, I can't believe that I'm the first. I don't even like saying that. Like, I'm the first minority to get a job like this, right?
First black head coach in Owasso history, right?
Yes, and like in Sissay in Tulsa, out of the Big Five, out of the Union Jinx, and like I don't even like it. It never dawned to me. But my thing is, like, the only thing I ever done was put my head down and took direction and instruction from people and did what was right. So. You could do it if you really lock into it and you grind and you put in the work, because we always hear those famous people like, put in the work, man, and you can be whatever you want to. And he's like, yeah, whatever, you know, that's just easy to say. But dude, I can't believe I'm that person that's saying those words now. And that's all it is. It's like, dude, you put the work in and you grind and you do what you're supposed to do and you stay humble and loyal and treat people right, things will start coming. So if you do those things, man, it really will happen for you. And so I think I have to say that because, like, I was that kid was always hearing these people, like, when I didn't make it to the NFL, well, that didn't work. You know, I worked hard, but I didn't realize you got to be 6'8", and you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. But you hear people say that stuff, and like, but I'm one of those people that's now saying that, like, dude, you put your head down and you work at it and you stay true to yourself and you do things right, dude, it could happen for you. So that's what I would tell these young kids and young coaches or anybody. Like, it's really true. So, like, you hear those people that say that, it's true, bro. Like, because they didn't get there by luck. They actually put the work in, and I'm one of those people that's saying that now. Like, I put the work in to be able to get this opportunity. So, and
I'm sure there was a lot of times where you got passed up when you thought you probably deserved something, and then
there's no doubt.
Might be a little bitter inside, but kept your head low. And
there's no doubt about that, man. I felt like I could have already been a coach or at a bigger school, and I've turned down jobs to be smart about where
to stay the path.
Yeah, to stay the path of, you know, of an opportunity. But man, don't get bitter about anything. You know, just keep working. Use it as fuel. There's stuff that's, even though I got this job now, there's some stuff that I'm still bitter about, you know, but I'm blessed at the end of the day. So just take it and make it what's yours. So,
hey, good words, man. Thank you for coming through. I love you. I'm glad you're here.
Love you too, brother.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, Antonio Graham.